Radio, 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can.
Stay here with you. You are a rainbow, so I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. You are my favorite song. I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. Seasons change, but you're the same. Your love is constant. You've never lost it. Your voice is calling out my name. It makes me miss you, even when I'm with you. Oh, nobody wants to go it alone, and I just wanna stay here with you. So I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. You are my favorite song. I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. I am a lucky one. I am a lucky
A speedy welcome to the show for everyone. This is the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And in mornings on Speed Lane, we talk about the things that shape our everyday lives, the decisions we make, the challenges we face, and sometimes the tough questions we try to answer. And I'm your host today, and my name is Mary Hangeior. Today, let's talk about child discipline. Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? When you're trying to discipline your child and to correct them from their mistakes and all of that, is it okay to beat them? We all want our children to grow up with good values, respect, and responsibility. But the big question is, should punishment include physical discipline? Is it okay to beat a child just to correct them? And if so, where do we now draw the line? Some say a small smack can teach a lesson. Others argue it might harm a child emotionally or physically and even affect their trust in you. So is it really about correction or control, and is there a better way? You also can call in to be part of this conversation if you reach out to us on 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. The question is it okay to beat a child, to discipline that child, like to correct them from their mistakes when they make a mistake and all of that? Now, I know if it were like in those days and all of that, no one will even ask a question like this, because we already know how it is from our parents. When you do something wrong and then they're trying to correct you and all of that, there's no even question whether it's okay. I believe some parents back then, they just believe that was the way. But now times are changing, and there's a need for us to still know if we are still standing on business there, or we are changing our minds these days. So the question is it okay to beat a child to correct them? Is it okay to flog your child just to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and let us know your opinion on our topic of discussion today. And we are talking about child discipline. Let us know if it's okay to hit a child if you're trying to correct them and make sure they don't go on with certain mistakes. As children, they are bound to make certain mistakes, sometimes even on purpose. There are children who will be on purpose stubborn and all of that, and then you're just trying to put word in their head like, this child, this is not the way to go, you shouldn't be doing this. And sometimes you talk and talk and talk to the extent where you cannot keep it up with the talking again. So in that case, now, is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. You can call in and share with us what you think about our topic of discussion. And meanwhile, I'll be bringing you some points. Discipline isn't a new topic, but it gets heated fast. So it's first thing I would say, learning versus fear. Children learn in different ways, and punishment may make them obey in the moment, and but does it really teach them why their behavior is wrong? For sometimes, personally, I believe sometimes it does work, because when they think about their lashes or what daddy is going to do, what mommy is going to do, and all of that, then they quickly turn away from that bad behavior or anything like that. But then for some kids, it's more like it will put fear in them, and then it goes beyond just that wrongdoing that we're doing, and they tend to okay, mommy is always going to beat me, or daddy is going to beat me if I make a small mistake, and all of that, leading to trauma and the rest. So what do you think? What is your take on this? Is it okay to beat a child just to correct them? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Calling and share with us what your opinion is. Now let's talk about emotional impact as well. Now, repeated physical discipline. Sometimes some people say it can make the child to just remember, okay, this is something that is not good. And even at early stages, some people would argue that, okay, it's making children to know that if I have been hit, then this is something that is bad. But then if I've not been hit, then this is good. I don't know if you get the logic, but then for some children, should I say stubborn children self, but nobody will want to admit that their child is stubborn and the rest. So let's just say for some children, it's going to show them that, okay, this is the difference. If I got hit because of this, it means that act was bad and I shouldn't do it again. But then other children, some people even say if you beat a child too much, then it's more like you're training them to get used to the whole beating, and then eventually they'll continue doing what you don't want them to do because they are used to the whole beating. I don't know how true that is, but you can call in and share with us what you think. Hello. Okay, number to call remains 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And now, let me come to myself level, because it's basically myself I can talk about much. And growing up as a child, I wasn't that, should I say, my daddy did not hit me once, but somehow it made me I was even more scared of him, even though he was the parent that didn't actually flog or do anything. And it's not just me, it was the rest of my siblings too. It was the parents that wouldn't like beat, he wouldn't say anything. But my mom, on a different note, was the opposite of him. So it's more like she would be the one to flog, and she wouldn't even have the mind. But later on, like, she'll come back and say, and you know why I punished you for this thing, right? It's because it wasn't okay, and I just wanted you to know that this particular thing is not supposed to be like this. And back then I'll look at it like, okay, but you should have just told me with your mouth that this thing would not be like this. And she'll be like, but I told you how many times, and you did not listen to me. But this cane now, he has made you to go and sit down quietly and all of that. And back then as kids, I wouldn't really say I understood it. I just took it that okay, there's punishment for doing this, there's going to be flogging for doing this, and all of that. And somehow I just shaped my mind to say, okay, well, this is how it goes, and so I would not be going near this thing again. But sometimes as children, you really get temptation to go ahead and just do some things, even though you're going to be punished. But then I think the beating part also helped. But that's for me, like the way I look at it now, as an adult, the way I said back then, like, that's for me. I feel like the beating part, it really worked. But is there a point where it becomes too excessive? And that's why we are on this topic today, child discipline. Now the question is it okay to beat a child to correct them? Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. You can call in and share with us what you think about our topic of discussion today. If it's okay to beat a child to correct them, and you can also relate it to when you how you were as a child. Did your parents often beat you, like, to correct you, to put sense in your head, like other people would say, and just to put you on the right track and all of that? And do you think it helped? Like, did it shape you to become like a better person, or was it something of trauma to you? Because I know that back then it wasn't even like a topic of argument. Everyone would agree that this is the right way to go and all of that. But now it's more like times are changing. Some people would say there is no need, and you're just making the child go through a lot of stuff if you're still hitting them, or if you're still doing certain things to them. So let us know, in this situation or in our today's world, is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Let us know your opinion on our topic of discussion today, because we all want our children to grow up in the right way. We all want them to grow up with those values and that we have. For some parents, like, those values that we have, those that discipline, that knowing what's wrong and what is right, like being able to tell what's wrong from right, and to some extent being able to know that, okay, they won't always carry this beating around, even and sometimes even when mommy and dad is no longer there with us, or maybe sometimes in school and all of that, they know that, okay, they used to beat me for this, that means it was wrong. And now that I am alone, it's more like, okay, if they used to beat me for it, wrong is still wrong. Even if no one is flogging me now, wrong is still wrong. But other people would say there's actually no need for that, and children will learn just by you talking to them. And I've even heard someone like talking to a parent before and was like, well, me, I don't actually beat my kids, but they still grow up and learn what I want them to learn, and they still get it, what I want them to get, and all of that. So what do you think? Is it okay to beat a child just to correct them from their wrongs and their mistakes? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and share with us your experiences or your opinion on our topic of discussion. Now let's talk about cultural perspective. In some homes, like physical discipline is seen as normal, while in others it's frowned upon. But the question remains, what really helps a child grow into a responsible adult? Because I believe, like, at the end of the day, that's where everyone is driving towards, trying to like make sure that children are growing in the way that they should grow. And that children are society's responsibility, apart from a family, which is their first contact. It's like the whole community and the society at large responsibility, because at the end of the day, if they don't grow up in the manner in which they should grow, it falls back on the rest of us, like as a society in general. Because like someone else's child might be out there costing you something outside. Imagine a child goes out to like misbehave and then is costing you or is influencing your own child out there. And if we keep talking about like a better world, a better society, a better tomorrow and all of that, I believe it starts from like knowing how we should actually, the actions we should actually take to make sure that children are growing up like to be better people and to have that discipline instilled in them, to the point that even when you're not there, like they look back and they say, okay, this is what mommy would have wanted me to do, this is what daddy would have wanted me to do. And so like even if they are not here to the whole flog and all of that, the whole punishment anymore, then I would still go in that direction because they already opened my eyes to see it. And that is how we are trying to train our children. So if it's in that light, now is it okay to beat a child, to correct them? A number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and share with us if you think it's okay to beat a child, to correct them. Now, disciplining children is one of the toughest jobs like a parent can face. I mean, one of the toughest jobs, although it's expected that okay, people should not complain, parents should not complain, and everyone should just like keep quiet and not talk about it. And sometimes even when some adults try to bring it up, it's more like people say, well, it's normal, that's how it's supposed to be, so you shouldn't complain or you shouldn't say anything because it's your responsibility and all. But the truth is, it's actually very tough. And sometimes as a parent, you don't even know like which step to apply again, and you're just looking for answers. You're just trying to like, okay, so what am I not doing right, or what am I doing wrong, and that's making this child to not be like this. I've had a situation, or I've had a neighbor actually who was like, I've beaten this child, that was a female child. I've beaten this child like so much because of one particular thing she keeps doing, and but it doesn't stop. Like each time it's more like she's getting used to the cane and all of that, and it's not working. So what am I doing wrong? Like, so sometimes is it that cane that is wrong? Like, are we just making them to get used to, okay, it's just punishment and it will pass? Or is it something else that is wrong? Or is it not enough? Is it not enough? Because I know that back in the day, like even the flogging then was different from now. Like the level of discipline and how much punishment they will inflict on a child just to make them like do the right thing is more than it is now. And surprisingly, even though back then was more than now, it's more like people these days are complaining more than the children these days are complaining more than the ones from back then, which is who are the adults now. Because if adults share their stories to you on what they went through and all of the, all the punishments they went through and all of that, it's more like you can see how hard it is, but then at the same time they could swear that okay, that actually shaped them to become better people, and they knew that okay, if I was getting punished for something like this, then I shouldn't be trying it again. So if you have just joined us, it's the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. And this morning we are asking a question. Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? Is it okay for you to punish your child just to correct them from their mistakes, from their wrongs, from things that they keep doing and just won't stop? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Now, every parent, right, want their child to be responsible, respectful, and in that manner of respect that we keep talking about. Because if they're not respectful, even at the level of like at home and in school and all of that, it comes out to society as well, and you find disrespect for elders and all of that. So once in a while you find a parent who would say, if you talk to me like this and if you talk to me in this certain manner. That's one of the things that I found most common for parents to just say, okay, direct punishment. If you talk to me in this manner, you're not being respectful and all of that, so you deserve to be punished. And every parent actually wants their kids to go up right. So we want to talk about it today, though. Like, we're already talking about it. How do you teach without breaking trust, like without putting fear in them, and like things that will not cause long-term effects and all of that? Method, good or bad, or sometimes somewhere in between. So we also want to hear from you, and we are talking about child discipline. The question is it okay to beat your child just to correct them? And number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Jerome. I'm calling from North Bank.
All right, welcome to the show. So what do you think?
Okay, I think personally it's in twofold here. A child should be corrected with discipline commensurate to the offense.
Okay.
You know, it's been seen in some societies these days that parents overhype, they give the punishment that is not commensurate with the offense or with the offense of the child.
Okay.
Secondly, also, parents should lead by example, because children learn more from what they see and what they observe. So when a child does anything wrong, they should lead by example. First and foremost, you want the child, show the child the right path. It's not always, or it's not all the time you always use force, cane, or strokes on the child. Show the child the right path, correct him or her. Then when next the child repeats such, give the child the punishment commensurate with the offense.
Okay.
You don't have to use 2 rods for a child that just threw water on the floor intentionally or something like that. So I believe there should be wisdom, proper guided wisdom in every way you bring up your child.
Okay.
That's my own take on it.
All right. Thank you very much for calling in to contribute. Now, we heard from him, and he said, for every mistake, like parents should give like matching punishment. You don't over punish, or you don't punish less than what that offense that child committed is. And he also mentioned something that children observe and watch what we do, so it's more like they watch our actions. So it's more like if you're acting in a certain way and your child is watching this, like maybe even your reaction to certain things, then he or she is able to tell that, okay, this is not okay, and then your reaction to another will tell him that this is okay. Now this is something that I can do or I should be doing, and it is permitted and all of that. So what do you think? We are talking about child discipline today, and the question is it okay to beat a child just to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and share with us if you have a different opinion, or even if you have the same opinion or something that you would like for parents to hear when it comes to disciplining a child. Is it okay to beat just to correct them? Now, like I was saying, there's no parent who you would come up to and they will tell you that they don't want their child to grow up right, or to be able to stay away from wrongdoings and all of that. And sometimes it starts from small, like when they are still little children, and you would desperately want to correct them, just to make them know that, okay, this is not what you should be doing. And sometimes they'll say, okay, if your child keeps going to a particular place and you desperately try to let them know that, okay, I don't want you to be going to this place because it is not okay. Maybe he or she goes there and then meets a lot of bad friends or people who would influence them to do things wrongly. And then you as a parent, you continuously try to tell that child, okay, this is what is there. But it's more like as children, there's a certain level of understanding, and a parent would say something, say things and all of that. But then you don't understand until when the children grow up and they're like, they look back and be like, so this is what my mom was trying to tell me, this is what my dad was trying to tell me this whole time. And it's more like that realization and all of that. So as a parent, sometimes it becomes frustrating because you know that somehow in the line, maybe your child might not be understanding you at first, but somewhere you don't want them to regret later. And after trying all methods and all of that, the next thing you say, maybe this one has to do, there's now need for physical punishment and all of that, just to make sure they are on the right track. So call in and share with us what your opinion is. It's the Speed Lane on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM, and we're talking about child discipline. Is it okay to beat a child to correct them from their mistakes? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and share your opinion on our topic of discussion. And you can also share in, like, if there are particular methods that you use for your children, and maybe you don't know, some other parents could hear it, someone who's been trying and then cannot actually get through with maybe on a particular issue they're trying to bring their child out of and all of that. And then if there's a particular method you as a parent you use, you can also call in and share with us. You don't know who is going to need that. And the number for you to call remains 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Is it okay to beat a child to correct them from their mistakes? And now I keep comparing this to back then when this wasn't even a question. Why this is a question now is because you find that even in schools now, if they punish children in schools now, parents are even the ones who go there like to fight for the children and try to well, you should not touch my child, you should not do this, don't punish them or don't do anything to them and all of that. You don't have to. You can just tell he or she don't do this and just be patient with them and all of that. But back then it wasn't like that. You were getting your punishment for what you did almost immediately, and I'm sure like that punishment, it just leaves that should I say mark in you that whenever you want to go back to that spot, you know that okay, this is a spot that when you go to, you're going to be getting flogged or you're going to be getting lashed and all of that. So somehow you just keep your cool. Now let's be honest, parenting isn't easy. Children test your limits, they push buttons and sometimes drive you up the wall. And in these moments of frustration, it can feel like a quick smack or is the fastest way to get them to listen. But here's the thing, the line between correction and harm is thin, and some parents where it swears it works and others worry it leaves scars not just on the body but deep down in the child's mind. But for me, honestly, I spoke about my mom being the one who would be the one to flog then, but still we did not leave any kind of, should I say, trauma and all of that. I still grew up close to her. Like I think I've even forgot. I just know that okay, something like that happened, but to remember it's like moment for moment and when it happened, how it happened and all of that, I really do not remember it. And I cannot even, in fact, in the evening of the day I got bit, like that same evening, I would be back now and talking to my mom and all of that. And although there are sometimes that you try to be dramatic as a child, try to show your parents that, well, since you beat me and all of that, I'm not going to talk to you. But how long can it even last as a child? How long could that even last? And it's more like the parents already know this standard. They know that, okay, well, they might feel that moment of, okay, mommy beat me, daddy flogged me and all of that, but then they'll still come back to you. And also when they grow up, they'll know that you did the right thing to them. So what is your take on our topic of discussion this morning? It's child discipline, and the question is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. You can call in and share your opinion with us, and also what methods has worked best for you or your family, or maybe in your teaching. Exactly, teachers are not left out, because it's more like when they say don't use that cane anymore, then they don't actually know what to do or how to actually correct a child anymore, since parents will keep complaining, well, I don't want my child to get hit, and I don't want you punishing my child in certain ways and all of that. So teachers are not actually left out. If you have those methods that you think could work, just to make sure that every child is growing up responsibly and is growing up in the right way and all of that, you could also call in and share with us. And number for you to call remains 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Now it's about time we try and wrap it up on the speed lane this morning. So let's say disciplining children is one of the toughest jobs a parent can face. I said that before, and that's because it's true. It's not just about making children obey, it's about shaping their character, like making them understand that the point, behind the whole punishment or behind your frown and all of that, building trust and also preparing them for life. And sometimes the hardest lessons don't need a hand to learn them. Words, guidance, and consistency can work just as powerfully, but that's for everyone to decide. Every parent, what works best for your child, how you do it with them and all of that. So let's take this. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
People called me Sir Benjamin Igege, so Yaba North Bank, Makodi.
All right, welcome to the show, Sir Benjamin.
Thank you very much.
Is it okay to beat a child to correct them?
Beating itself is not bad. It depends on the way the punishment is administered. And it depends on what the child has done that deserves a beating. The Bible made us understand that spare the rod and spoil the child.
Okay.
Sometimes these children need to be beaten in order to be corrected.
Okay.
There are some of them, when you continue to talk, they turn it to be a joke. So sometimes when you use a cane, the child realizes, he feels the pain and knows that something is happening.
Okay.
But if we have to beat, especially in school, we must be very careful with the way we beat. Thank you.
All right. So thank you very much, Benjamin, for calling in to contribute. Now we heard him, and he says sometimes you talk, and children turn it into a joke. Like they just hear you and they'll be like, is he not talking? That one, when she's tired of talking, when he is tired of talking, he's going to stop, and then he will leave me alone, or she will leave me alone, and all of that. So what do we now do when it's when it gets to that point? What do you now do as a parent, as a teacher, whoever is handling children, and as a guardian? What do you now do in that situation? Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. Call in and share with us what you think will work the most, and is it okay to beat a child to correct them from their mistakes? And speaking of what Benjamin said, he said as it's also about knowing when to stop, like how much is too much for a child to take and all of that. But he doesn't condemn like the act of punishing them completely, because maybe sometimes when they think about the physical pain that is going to cause to them, and or discomfort with the punishments and all of that, then they are reminded to just stay away from a particular act, or from a particular, or just to obey. Exactly, just to obey, because I think that's one of the most stressful situations for a parent, that obedience. When it comes to obedience, right? You hear a lot of parents saying, well, I told you to not do this and you went ahead to do it. And even in school, when they say come to school early, and then children would still show up late. Sometimes some people would like to put it on, okay, it's the parents, but sometimes it's also the children. It's also the children sometimes who try to be stubborn on purpose, or they say, okay, when it's break time, don't go towards this path, and you will still find some kids there. What are we doing in that situation? What do we do in that situation? How do we put this under control, and how do we shape our kids' life without actually doing too much? Now the question is it okay to beat a child to correct them? Is it okay to beat a child to correct them? And the number for you to call is 0808 427 5464. That's 0808 427 5464. And like I said, disciplining children is one of the toughest jobs a parent can face. It's really one of the toughest, and no matter how people come out with smiling faces, just to cover the whole thing up, I still think it's one of the toughest jobs, because how do you get children at that age to understand that you're not just talking about this thing, you're not just condemning a particular act simply because you want them to be unhappy, or you just want to limit them from stuff and all of that. How do you convince them at such an age? And that's why some parents have no choice but to like bring in punishment, just to draw the child back, just to make them remember, if I do this, then it's this. But if I do good, sometimes I would appreciate parents who actually bring rewards into it, not just punishment. When a child does good and you reward them, so the child to like know the difference. Well, if I do good, I'm getting cake, I'm getting biscuit or whatever, and then if I do bad, I'm getting smacked, or I am going to kneel down, I am going to do this, I'm going to do that. So it's more, I think it's effective when they know the difference, like they know where to fall back and all of that. And this is where we'd have to wrap it up on the speed lane this morning. And remember, it's not just about making children obey, it's about shaping their character, building trust, and preparing them for life. And sometimes the hardest lessons don't need a hand to land on them. Words, guidance, and consistency works just as powerfully. So as you go about your day today, don't forget to remember that the impact of your actions and the lessons you pass on are very important. Also coming up next at 10 a.m. after the news is King James 90s Top 10. So stay tuned for that and more right here on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. This has been the Speed Lane, and I've been your host on today's session. My name is Mary Hangeior.